Today is Tuesday, Parashat Shemini. Shemini means the eighth. The parasha of this week, Vayi Bayom Shemini, and he was on the eighth day. The eighth day, because for 7 days Moshe Rabbeinu was erecting the Mishkan and bringing it down, but on the eighth day, he erected it and he introduced Aaron HaKohen into the service of the Mishkan. This was a most important date, the date of the 1st of Nisan. It's a day that the Mishkan was inaugurated, the day that the service in the Mishkan began, that the service of the Kohanim began, that the Korbanot were brought in the Mishkan. This is the day also that the Nesi'im, the heads of the tribes, brought their offerings to the Mishkan. On the first day, Nachshon ben Aminadav from the tribe of Yehuda, etc. And every day, another person was the leader of one of the other tribes. For 12 days, they brought korbanot. That began on the 1st of Nisan. First Nisan also is in a way a beginning of the year. The Torah, when we speak about the first month of the year, it refers to the month of Nisan. So Rosh Chodesh Nisan is in a way a beginning of the year. There's even a machloket in the Gemara in terms of when was the world created, when was Adam Harishon created? Was it on the 1st of Tishrei or the 1st of Nisan? And there are two opinions. So the 1st of Nisan is the most important day of the year. It sort of begins, it's Chodesh Aviv, the month of the spring. And Aviv in Hebrew means spring. But Aviv also in Hebrew can be divided into Av Yud Bet, the father of the 12. The father of the 12 months, meaning that was the beginning of all the 12 months, and that's the first time that the mitzvah was given to us to sanctify the new moon was for Rosh Chodesh Nisan, just before they went out from Egypt. And therefore, this coming Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which will be not this coming Shabbat, but the following Shabbat, is Shabbat HaChodesh. Actually, on that day, we'll take out 3 Sifrei Torah. One for the parasha of that week, one for the parasha that refers to Rosh Chodesh, and one for the parasha HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem. It's a portion in the Torah that speaks about the mitzvah of sanctifying the new moon, and that will be on the day of Shabbat, not this coming one, but the following one. Beginning with the beginning of the month of Nisan, from Rosh Chodesh Nisan, on for the whole month of Nisan, there is a mitzvah of Birkat HaIlanot, of a blessing for the fruit trees. And that is done typically as early as possible in the month of Nisan. When Rosh Chodesh Nisan is Shabbat, most of the opinions is to do it on the following day rather than on Shabbat itself, even though typically you could, but there are some opinions that a person should not do it on Shabbat, but rather on the following day or any of the other days of Nisan. That beracha basically will refer to the fact that we thank Hashem for nothing is lacking in His world, and He's created good creatures and beautiful fruit trees for us to enjoy. So that also is as the spring begins and the fruit trees are flourishing, we thank Hashem. So Rosh Chodesh Nisan, that's coming up in about 10 days, is a very important date, and it's the date that is referred to in the parasha of this week, in the first pasuk, Vayi Bayom Shemini, was on the 8th day. That 8th day was actually Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'amen.